Well, welcome back. You're listening to Chat with Women, and I'm Pam.
And I'm Rochelle.
And now joining us is Nan Hall, who's the creator of SportsWidow.com. Nan says that she's a total sports geek, doesn't get it, and understands why most of us feel that way. So I don't know how many women love sports, but there's probably a small percentage. So good morning, Nan.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. This is just such a great subject because I have to tell you, I have a son that I swear watches 80 hours a week of sports. He can't get enough. He's just absorbed. And unfortunately, my husband only watches it when he feels like, well, I can because she's gone someplace. So I have both extremes. So maybe you could explain to us first, what is a sports widow?
Well, a sports widow is it's about a relationship with a sports fan, and you're somehow sidelined in that relationship, is the way that I put it, or disenfranchised, and you sort of don't have a vote. And I'm a sports widow. My credentials, unfortunately, fall into 4 different categories. I'm unathletic. In fact, I'm a klutz. I'm unknowledgeable about sports. I'm married to a fan who's interested in football, college basketball, baseball, tennis, everything. And now we are actually grooming another fan who is my 10-year-old son. And so this is a self-replenishing kind of situation.
Right.
And that's the bad news about being a sports widow.
So what kind of sports widow are you?
So I am, as I said, I'm a football sports widow, baseball, basketball.
So you're everything?
I'm pretty much everything, I would say. But on my website, sportswidow.com, I have, because we have elections going on during this period of time, I thought it might, or they're approaching, I thought it might be kind of fun to have a poll. So I've created these categories for what kind of sports widow you could be in terms of your psychological attributes.
Oh, I love that. So let's go into that.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, so there's the avenging sports widow.
Avenging?
And they pretty much speak for themselves. The avenging sports widow is sort of the Nancy Sinatra of sports widows, where she would like to crush sports with her fashionable boots. That's the way that I
White boots are made for walking.
Exactly. And then there's a sabotaging sports widow, and that's sort of the passive-aggressive brand, where seems relatively cheerful about the fans' interest in sports, and yet finds those opportunities to throw roadblocks into the middle of a sporting event or something that's going on. Then there's an enabling sports widow, which is sort of the water girl of sports. And that person...
She brings this beer to him.
Is that it? The munchies, the beer.
Takes care of the kids, basically does everything to really nurture that.
Poor thing.
And then there's the compromising sports widow, which has a pretty intricate system, sort of a chit system of, well, if you're doing this, then I'm doing that.
Oh, that's you, Rochelle.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the last one there's the keeping up with the fan sports widow, which is probably best for someone who's younger, where they may have a fan who's very, very athletic, and they try to keep up with them, and either successfully or somewhat unsuccessfully, but they don't have their heart in it. They're just trying to keep up with them. And then the final one is the role reversal sports widow, which of course is less common, but it's where the man in the relationship is the fan. And one of my friends, for instance, has that situation where she's basically watching a Huskies game, swearing like a sailor, and he's in the kitchen.
That's got to be 1%.
Get in the kitchen and give me some nachos.
I need those chicken wings now.
That has to be 1% of the population.
I think it is. But now, so my question is, Pam, what category do you put yourself into?
Well,
you're not really. Your son is more of the
my
sports
son
fan.
is that my husband. I would say that I'm the one that actually, when my husband wants to watch it, I probably sabotage it.
Yeah. See? Okay.
I would say I sabotage it by, what do you mean you're going to watch sports? We have to go do this, and that. I don't know. I don't like sports. It ruins my whole day. I don't understand why men think it's okay that they watch 18 hours a week sports. Well, what are we supposed to do?
Penny's going, duh.
Shop for 18 hours a week then.
You can't.
She really can't.
Well,
Says who?
Yeah, exactly.
Says who?
Unfortunately,
It costs you a lot of money to shop.
That's
18
his
hours.
problem.
Yeah. See, what do you think she is? That's his problem.
Rochelle,
What do you call that?
Rochelle, let's talk about you.
Yeah, let's talk about me. Can you figure out which kind I am?
Yeah.
Ooh, a little angry.
What do you call that?
Am I the Avenger? Let's
Definitely
see.
avenging.
I'm the Avenger.
Oh yeah, I'll show
Absolutely.
you if you're going to.
Well,
sit there.
you know, I mean, and I'm not kidding. He just went out and bought this humongous TV. And the funny thing is he went out of town. He went, "How do you like the TV, honey?" And I went, "I really don't care. I mean, I really don't care."
You were happy with your little TV.
I was happy with my,
See?
you know.
I know. Well, Rochelle, do you have a TV in your bedroom?
I do.
See, now that to me is the kiss of death as a sports widow. I don't know if you
Sure, because he
experience
turns it on
yeah.
in bed and watches.
I
He goes to sleep by Sports Center.
We constantly need those updates.
No, I'm serious. They go to sleep with Sports Center. I know my son does. He goes to sleep
do,
with Sports
yeah.
Center.
Well,
My
I
husband
don't
does
have that. I don't have that.
Well-
You know, he keeps that in the other room.
We used to have the television in our bedroom, and I banned it because what would happen is my husband would wake up in the middle of the night, and he's a good person,
Yes.
so he would put the volume on, but he would turn it on, and the flash would wake me up, and then he'd fall asleep, clutching it like he was some, war veteran, and he was holding on to his firearm or something, so I'd have to wrest it away from him.
That's sports
Okay,
Avenger.
I had to bring in some ESPN.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you.
And I have to tell you, that would be my son. I know, not that I've been there when he's asleep, but I know him. He can't sleep. He turns the TV on. I think he gets up now and goes to the other room. I don't know. But he does that and watches all these updates. What is a woman really supposed to do, Nan?
Well, so I think that there's a no one-size-fits-all sort of answer to it. And in my website, I blog. I've been blogging for a couple of years and just launched the site last year. And I talk about what my experiences are and how I try to muddle through it because it's really about a relationship. So you only have a few choices in that relationship. And one of the most important things to me is that if you can schedule it somehow, which is really hard because it's insidious, it's everywhere. But if you can find out where those key times are when you know that your fan is going to be absorbed, it starts to free you up and give you choices about what you do. So I think your choices are you can separate, which is really easy if you don't have children.
Yeah, this is your house, this is mine. That's a good separation.
Or I can go upstairs and you stay downstairs. I have my own TV.
Or you can try to find a way of connecting. What I found is there are a few ways I can connect. I do love to cook. So if we turn it into more of an entertaining sort of situation,
Bring some friends
it's more fun for me. I also love film. So occasionally we rent a film that relates to sports, but it's a chick flick as well as a guy flick.
That's good.
So that's a way to connect. The other one is that I'll be in the mood to actually learn, and I found that my best teacher is my son. He has patience for me.
That's
he doesn't
nice.
read
Thank you.
full.
That's true in my house too.
It's true. So you can learn. Then the other approach that you have is equity. I think that in all relationships, that's really ultimately what we're searching for, is some kind of equity. And when you have children, which is what really inspired this for me, was that I was pushing my baby around 9 years ago, my last baby, and I thought, I'm a sports widow. My husband was in there watching, sports all afternoon. I was pushing around the third child, and I thought, this is really bizarre. This was no choice of mine whatsoever, but I am really not a part of this.
Right.
And by equity, you can do things like you try to look at how much time he spends, and you get that time back in one way, shape, or form. Or maybe you go to the Medi Spa and clean in.
There, Vitality Medi Spa,
Tammy,
Dr. Tammy
right?
Morelli, absolutely.
Or maybe
we work that in there.
Right.
Right.
Or if you're taking care of the kids while he's watching sports, then you say, well, I'm going to my movie club next week, and that takes 3 or 4 hours. You don't want to get too tit for tat.
Right.
But you look for those things, and we can all say, well, let's run out and go shopping, but there are limits to how much time we can spend shopping, and our budgets are going to limit that too. And I think that that's the interesting thing to me about sports, is that there's no equivalent in my life. I'm passionate about film, but I couldn't sit down and tell you every director and what their weights were, and how many awards they had.
And they do know all
And
that.
they do.
They know